How you doing, everybody? Nick DiVirgilio here, and today's video is on this Craviotto 4-piece beechwood drum kit. If you've ever sat behind a Craviotto drum kit or even just one of their snare drums, then you already know how special these drums are. Every drum is handcrafted, and they have some really cool, unique features that you'll only get from a Craviotto drum kit. One of the most unique features is the drum shell. The reason it's so unique is that it's one ply. And you're going to ask yourself, or ask me, you're going to say, Nick, what? One ply? How's that even work? Most drum kits out there in the world, as you probably already know, are made of plywood. They take a bunch of really thin plies, they glue them together to a certain thickness, and then they put them in a mold. The heat glues the plies together. They take them out of the mold, they cut the edges, and there's drums there. And there's a lot of amazing, some of the best drums in the world are made out of plywood, don't get me wrong. But what makes these unique is that it's one ply, one solid piece of beechwood, and they steam bend that one ply into the round shape and make a drum out of it. Then they cut the edges, and they're just really special. You get a great tone out of one thick piece of wood as compared to plies. So with that in mind, let's play these drums right now. This particular kit has an 8x12-inch rack tom, a 14x14-inch floor tom, a 14x20-inch kick drum, and this shell pack actually comes with a snare drum, a 5.5x14 matching snare. We'll get into all of those drums, but first let's start with the tom. Snare wires off. Here we go. Very nice, bright, punchy tone. Now, beechwood, if you've never played it before, it's a really cool tone wood for drums that I have just learned about over the 3.5 years that I've been here at Sweetwater. It's kind of similar to birch, but you get a little more low end, a little more roundness out of it. And since these drums have perfect 45-degree bearing edges, you're going to get a nice bright attack, but some good roundness and just low end out of these drums. And with these sizes, I have the drums tuned up a little bit high, but they went there naturally, and you could put them in all kinds of different places. So now let me turn the snare wires on and do the same thing for you. Really nice musical interval between these two toms. Now, before I play the rest of the drum kit for you, I want to tell you about one other cool feature about these Craviotto drums. They come outfitted from the factory with Aquarian drum heads. I think that's a great feature because Aquarian makes really nice drum heads, and they make this drum kit sound great. This is the head you're going to get on your toms and your snare drum, and it's just a typical Aquarian texture-coated single ply head. It's exactly the same thing I have on the drums right now. And if you want to make a comparison, it's sort of like the Remo Ambassador or the Evans G1, just a single ply coated head. For the kick drum, you get an Aquarian Super Kick 1. What's really cool about these drum heads is that they're outfitted with a piece of felt around the inside of the whole head, which makes it so you don't really have to have any dampening like a pillow or anything like that inside the kick drum. You get enough dampening with the felt and the closed off front head where what's really cool is it makes the kick drum have a little bit of resonance and a little bit of sustain rather than completely dampened all the way with a pillow or something like that. So it's a really cool feature, Aquarian drum heads on the whole drum kit right from the factory. All right, now with all that said, let's get to the sound of this kick drum. Again, 14 by 20 inch, great size. I'm using the DWMCC chain drive pedal here with the felt beater on it, okay? So here we go, snare wires off, 14 by 20 inch Craviotto kick drum. Really nice, punchy, but round. And hopefully you can hear this. When I strike the kick drum and I pull the beater back off the head immediately, you'll definitely be able to hear the kick drum do that sustain thing like I was talking about. Check this out. Kind of hear the snap and then a little bit of a ooh. It's a really beautiful tone. Now if you want to take your front kick drum head, put a hole in it per normal. A lot of people like that way. I like playing drums with the hole in the front kick drum head a lot. A little dampening, get a nice punchy round kick drum tone that way as well. Let me put the snare wires on, do the same thing for you. Really cool musical round tone. Another cool thing about this particular kick drum head, the Aquarian Super Kick 1, with no dampening on the inside and the front head without the hole. Sometimes when you have the front head without the hole on a kick drum and you do what you call planting the beater into the kick drum, sometimes it'll sort of flutter. It doesn't just hit the head and stop. That's because the air is moving on the inside of the drum. But with that dampening on the head, even though you don't have the hole in the front head, the beater still sticks to the batter side like it would if you did have dampening on inside. It's just a nice feature. It's a comfortable way to play the kick drum, I feel. So you can have both, the beater hitting the head and stopping or coming off and having the rounder tone. Nice tonal options there. All right, now let's get into the sound of this snare drum because you get a matching snare drum with this drum kit. Now, Craviotto snare drums have long been known to be some of the best in the world. And if you ever talk to other drummers and you find out that they own a Craviotto snare drum, you go, oh man, that's really cool. So let's play this one. Again, 5.5 by 14, same beechwood build. I'm gonna first play it with the snare wires off so you can hear the tone of the drum without the snare wires. Here we go. Great rebound, great feel, great tone. Again, it's pitched up pretty high, and it's not a deep snare drum. 5.5 is your typical size, so it's tuned up kind of high. But before I put the snare wires on, I'm going to play with the snare wires off and play the toms and the kick drum with the snare wires off on the snare. You can really hear how musical this drum kit is. Here we go. So much fun. Now let me put the snare wires on, play the snare drum first, then I'll play it with the whole kit as well. So here we go. This is a really nice sounding and feeling snare drum. It's sensitive all the way to the edge of the drum and back to the center. Great volume bump from really quiet to really loud and everywhere in between. Another very nice feature about this particular snare drum is the throw off and the strainer. It is a Trick Drums GS007 3-position strainer. So you get 3 different snare wire tensions, really easy to use, from sort of really loose, in the middle, a little bit tighter, and then all the way up. feels really good and sounds really good. Let's put all of it together as a whole kit. So much fun, and it's so inspiring to play these drums. All right, let's get into the hardware now. Some really nice features on the hardware as well. First, let's talk about the lugs. These beautiful tube lugs with the diamond shape attachment right underneath them. You'll notice that the diamond is a theme around the Craviotto drums. Their badge is also in a diamond shape, and so they put that as well with their hardware and these lugs. Low mass, nice looking on this finish of this drum kit. It's a really cool feature. The suspension system is the old school rims suspension system. It even says it on the badge on the edge of the system right here. It's a really cool thing because it just lets the drum hang freely and you get really nice resonance out of these drums. I'd like to point out the claw hooks on the hoop of the kick drum. Nice stamped claw hooks that also have the diamond right in the center of the claw hook. So again, that visual feature that is a theme with the whole drum kit is there as well. There's also very nice kick drum spurs and floor tom legs that come with this Craviotto kit, so you know your drums are going to stay in place and feel good and not move when you're having a good old time playing. Let's talk about the beautiful finish on this drum kit. A flat black lacquer, nice matte finish, but it also has some cherry wood inlays. You can see it on the center of the rack tom here. It's on the center of all of the drums, even the snare drum. And another really cool feature that I like is that the cherry wood inlays are also on the kick drum hoops. So it really makes these drums stand out visually, look great on any stage. Finally, before we close this video out, I want to show you the inside of one of these drums. I'm going to take the head off the rack tom and you can see the shell, the bearing edges, and how beautiful the drums are on the inside as well. I've taken the head off of the rack tom so I can show you the beauty that is the inside of this particular drum. And you can also see that it's one ply, one piece of solid wood. Really nice looking on the inside. You see the natural color of the beech wood. Now, the lighter wood that's right here is a reinforcement hoop, and the darker wood is the beech wood. It's one solid piece, and it's just really amazing construction. The bearing edge is really smooth to the touch, perfect 45-degree angle. Slightly rounded on the outside, but you're still going to get minimum drum head contact for basically the maximum sustain and resonance out of the drum. A nice feature that I think is worth mentioning, that on the inside of the drum here is a heat stamp, the Craviotto badge, stamped onto the wood. Also, down here at the bottom of the shell is a sticker that has all the craftsman's signatures, the serial number, and the date that this particular drum or drum kit was made. I want to encourage you, like I do in all my videos, to check out the text below the video. There you'll get links of all of the other gear I'm using here for this particular drum kit video. The beautiful DPA microphones, these great Zildjian cymbals, the stand that my computer's sitting on, everything, the recording interface, all of that stuff is linked directly to their product pages. So if you're interested in any of the other gear I'm using here, you can definitely easily find it by checking out the text below the video. All right, everybody, this is the Craviotto 4-piece beechwood shell pack with a matching snare drum. Fantastic drums. If you end up buying this particular kit, you'll be very happy you did. It will last you a lifetime. Sound great, it's roadworthy, sound great in the studio, so many different musical situations. Really nice drums. If you want any more information about this Craviotto product or any other Craviotto product, just contact your Sweetwater sales engineer. Thanks a lot for watching.